everyone, Joe here from ActionX. Welcome to What's in the Tuber. Welcome back. If this is your 8th Suits LA episode review, hope you're doing well. Hope you're staying safe out there in the big old world. I really hate the weather in New York. I understand why Ted Black left New York. It's been very inconsistent, the weather. Some days it's really warm, some days it's very cold. And we're in April, so I can't really tell. Some days I'm prepared, some days I'm over-prepared, some days I'm under-prepared. So, reality, if you see me sniffling or playing with my nose a lot, I do apologize. I don't know what's coming up with me. It's just allergy season yet again. But I will be taking medication after this episode's over. But however, here we are, properly beginning the second half of the season. No words on Season 2 right now. I have heard scuttlebutt that there might be Season 2, only because they invested a lot of money, that this is a brand that's still trying to figure itself out, which I'm like, I would not mind a Season 2. Am I clamoring for one as of right now, after this episode particularly? Not entirely. I do like Stephen Amell. I do like Josh McDermott, that I would be perfectly fine seeing them again next year for another season. But at least right now, when it comes to the engagefulness, I'm not, it's been on a rise, and with this week's episode, I feel like we kind of digressed a little bit, just a little bit. I don't quite think this was a bad episode, but I'm not really feeling the big push that I guess that I was expecting by this point. I don't know, because this episode felt more like, it's kind of like quasi new beginning. Where like it's kind of like not like a reset point for the season, because I know we only just got through 7 episodes, but it definitely felt like they're trying to establish some new things. Obviously, keep some of the background stuff with the flashbacks keep going along. And I feel like there was great moments in this episode, some that were not. And I'm really curious to see how next week is going to really pan out. It seems like next week's is the proper, like, a Suits crossover episode, where I think that's where, like, what I mentioned before, the other Suits character that we know is going to come back this season is going to appear. That's my assumption. I'm not 100% certain on the matter, to be honest with you. But what I am aware of is that, yeah, there is going to be some... Probably that's going to be next week's episode. Probably that's going to be the big build episode that everyone's waiting for. Which, again, me not being a Suits fan, because I never watched the original show, it's just, for me, another episode of LA. So it's not really much for me to go on. But we'll talk more about that next week. But with this week's episode, I thought it was fine. I don't believe we moved the needle on all. It kind of gave me a little bit of episode 3-4 vibes, where, like, it's still kind of getting me a little bit interested, but at the same time, it's not to where I was expecting by this point, where I feel like I would be a little bit even more invested. And that I think that that's something that the show still needs to kind of figure itself out. As we are 100% continuing to develop these characters' relationships with each other, but at the same time, we're just not quite, I don't think we're at that point yet. I still don't feel it. We're 8 episodes in, and I'm not feeling it. It's not a good sign. It's not a bad sign, Again, it's just, this is just my perspective of what I have not read anyone else's comments on the show so far. I don't really have time to read that many others. I don't. But with that being said, let's just go through the butcher recap and talk about this week's episode of Suits LA. So we begin with where do we begin, actually? I cannot remember, to be honest with you. And that's already the sign of a good episode, where I cannot remember exactly. Where do we begin? This is alarming for me. This really is. If I'm going to remember correctly, I believe one of the early scenes is Stewart meeting up with the client again, the not David Bowie, on his case, reminding him that, hey, look, Samantha ain't going to show up. I talked to her. She said hell to the fucking no. So if but I understand you're in a very precarious situation. You're going to need a criminal defense attorney. I'm the best in the state. So guess what? You're going to pick me, and that's what's going to happen. And, otherwise, you're going to be completely left with nothing. And the guy is finally pushed to the point where, like, all right, fine. I'll take you on as a client. And Stewart's like, attaboy. So I need all the information possible. I need everything. Because, again, the moment we cross this original meeting, if anything else gets found out afterward, I will smack you. I will really, really, really smack you. Okay, not really like that, but he's just, very straight to the point that, like, whatever he wants to do is just not to proceed forward with that. I do believe Ted does visit Amanda to get an update on her, the offer he gave to her way to join his council team officially. She has not yet decided. She needs more time, but however, Ted is kind of getting the vibe. Okay, well, it seems like you're not going to want to come for the role, which I'm like, okay, that's fine. But in the meantime, if you can, we still need to fill that role. So if you can, please, comb through, put out a job posting, and then see who you can find. Bring me someone, because if you don't want to do it, if you want to maintain the whole I want to be pro bono and do what I want to do mentality, that's perfectly fine. He's not going to interject with that, but he is expecting more of a commitment for her, basically speaking, at least on this front, which she does agree to. She doesn't sign off on that, frankly speaking. Erica's in the middle of work when her mom calls her for a little side thing. Apparently, one of their next door neighbors that looked after Erica when she was younger, sadly just passed away today, and Erica is obviously feeling disappointed by it. Obviously, it's someone close to the family, and was 100% set to head out there and to be with her family during this time period. However, the following call she receives is from Adam Driver himself. Well, a representative from Adam Driver saying that Adam is not feeling that loved. He's not his current attorneys, his current representation doesn't seem like they're really checking it out. Which I'm like, I haven't even seen Adam Driver on screen since freaking Star Wars, so I'm like, I'm not gonna beat around the bush with you on that one front too. So sadly, Erica does agree to have dinner that night with Mr. Driver to poach him for their firm, which again obviously contradicts to what she originally planned her mom, because again that's the nature of the job. She is head of entertainment. Adam Driver is again, I'm assuming I'm not a film savant. I'm not into the big really Oscar worthy film. I'm not into that zeitgeist, to be honest with you. I'm not. But she has to make the sacrifices because again that is still a big name that that would look very well on their list of clientele. Meanwhile, we have Leia, who is typing away for the day when she gets a notice from her veterinarian that sadly her cat did pass away today. Obviously, she was about to explode into tears, but however, Erica shows up to let her know that she will be needing her present tonight to present at a dinner with Adam Driver, which she just says, I can't be there. And then Erica's like, what? Well, what'd you say? Like, it reminds her, like, I cannot. I already have plans. And that's when Erica goes off on her saying, like, listen, you need to know what team you're playing in. This is the type of job that, like, even if you have personal time, if you have this, there is no such thing as a personal time. You are a senior associate. You are expected to make these last-minute dinners when they come up, okay? I don't care about your personal plan. I don't care about anything. When I was in your position, I had to bend over backwards. If Ted needed me at 3 a.m. at night for a nightcap meeting with a client, I would be there. Because that's the attitude of the business. That's how we get paid. So the fact you're not willing to step up is really speaking volumes for your commitment for the company. And I'm just like, oh, Jesus Christ, is one of those people again. So Erica does go off on her and then, promptly walks away as Leia kind of has to really grasp in on her emotions of like, what the heck just happened. Then I believe we get the first flashback for the episode. I believe they are finally making the final movements against Pellegrini over back in New York for Ted to pursue forward. I don't quite remember what the first flashback scene was. I know we don't get to see his dad this week. I know that. I believe he chimes in with Kevin on just making sure everything's prepped to go. Everything is, square and sound for the case tomorrow. Because again, this is a make or break thing. 100% is a make or break thing. I know Ted has a scene with Pellegrini in a bathroom, which I'm just like, how many freaking... This is the second time... Like, okay, in context of my life right now, I am seeing 3 different lawyer shows. I'm seeing this show, I'm seeing Matlock, and technically to an adjacent Daredevil Born Again. So the fact that this is not the first time in recent weeks I've seen a lawyer having a meeting with someone that is not of the right side of the law in a bathroom is just like, is there like a unspoken meeting of the bathroom? And just now that I remember myself, freaking in Perry Mason, when I just reviewed that a couple of months ago, last year, there was a scene, multiple scenes in the bathroom with lawyers and with shady people, and I'm just like, God damn it, like. Okay, I mean, well, I don't even think Matlock got to that point yet, so if Matlock doesn't have it, I guess that's just a staple of, like, a lawyer show, apparently. I really don't know, to be honest with you. I really don't know. But anyway, so... and then I believe before we move forward, I know there was one more flashback scene where Ted consults in his brother Eddie, just to speak about just everything going on, and to voices disconcern about it, especially now that Samantha's no longer in his life. And then he just being the lovable brother he is, just tries to console Ted just to make him understand, trying to make him feel good about himself, saying that when I was a kid, I didn't want to be Superman. I wanted to be Ted Black, which I'm just like, I get the context, but I'm just like, I don't quite think we're there yet as a fandom to like really express that. This is my opinion. Anyway, so I know we do cut back to present day. I want to say, like, we get another scene between Stewart and his client about just more of the backbones of thing. Apparently, the whole gist of this whole big accusation, the whole big case that just happened, is that again, this producer is notorious for doing very, very, very aggressive things to make his point across. And that there was a accident on the set of one of the productions that he was producing, and that the whistleblower, the one who leaked the information from being an internal investigation, is actually obviously something he didn't like. He was like, no, we have to keep it in house right now. We can't let the paparazzi get involved, the tabloids get involved in this, because like it's just going to create negative publicity over the film. And so that's when he did pay a visit to her and to her car to burn it up, to kind of make her know that, hey, do not leak any more information. Let this be in-house. We will deal with this eventually, but for the time being, stay in your lane. So Stewart just got to make sure, crossing his T, dotting his I's, making sure this guy is not anything more than just I guess a prick, basically speaking, having to get a better connection into the vast scope of Hollywood. He relies on Rick to use one of his connections at the film studios to garnish him in to see if he can find out anything more. And at first, Rick is like, well, the last time like we had this sort of like favor banter between us, I had to go play D&D at your house, which I don't quite think is fair to margin. And Stewart's like, okay, fine, I'll do this for me, and I'll delete all the photos I took that night. Which I'm just like, what the. You took photos, my dude? Like, that's not one of the things, like, to really, to really go for it. But anyway, so I believe where we go through till there is, where do we go? I'm trying to remember. I know Erica does go to Ted to kind of ask for his blessing for him to take over the Adam Driver meeting tonight, and Ted's like, I don't mind doing it. It will not be a quick meeting, so please be aware that maybe it's better if you go instead. So if it is something important, I'll do it. But if it's not important, then if it's just a personal thing, then like I guess they'll make the appointment. But before they can finish up with their conversation, Ted's assistant comes in, letting Erica know that she has been summoned to HR, who is a brand new representative, as their previous HR person has gotten some illicit complaints. Let's just say that much. Erica heads downstairs, which she speaks to the HR person, who explains to her that he overheard her attitude and aggressiveness towards Leia earlier in the day, and that he thought this would warrant a follow-up conversation to see what the heck was going on. Which Erica's just confused by, but like, people have had those conversations with me before in the past when I was in her position. I thought that was just justifiably acceptable. Which the guy said, well, okay, this is the modern day. These certain things, they don't fly nowadays. Obviously things, and I know there's like a lot of conversation between like, oh, some people are like, more emotionally weaker than like generations before, which I'm just like, it's just being a fair human being. Come on, there's many things going on. And, he does bring up the point, like you did mention, like she does not have any free time when she's a senior associate, which obviously is a clear violation of, policy. So, just letting you know, this is just a warning, but just, watch not even watch your tone, basically speaking, just like, make sure you know what you're saying, think what you're saying before you say it, because then, while Leia didn't officially bring it to HR, he just overheard the matter, that next time might be lucky for Erica, but obviously she does not take it the right way, and she storms out very angrily about it, the fact she was being accused of that. I want to say we cut to the nighttime where Stewart just barges in on a meeting between the producer Rick mentioned to Rick himself, and immediately just start badgering him about the whistleblower case with David Bowie, and Stewart immediately just makes everything point direct. The producer does get a little mad. He does submit, okay, fine. The whistleblower, the person that revealed that someone got hurt on one of our film sets. Yes, she was a drug unit. I've seen the bill to what she was charging the studio. Yes, I know she was in rehab for 6 months. I understand that. But that's all you're getting out of me, 100%. And she even tells Rick that our relationship is over. You do not call me again. Which I'm just like, great, Stuart, great. Was that really 100% worth it, basically speaking? Where do we go from there? I don't think we go to the next Stewart thing yet. I don't believe so. I believe we get to the next flashback where Ted is starting his case against Pellegrini, calling up his star witness right off the bat to basically just, point blank out say that, yes, this guy was hired by Pellegrini to do these hit crimes, to kill these people multiple times in his office. He physically saw him face to face. Obviously, especially that, Ted's using his most recent victim as like the main star of the show here. Not like that, but still. However, even though Ted made a very good argument against that, sadly, the defense immediately destroyed that, saying that, were you 100% certain that this man was even in the office at the time you stated this? And that he kind of poked holes to the fact that, like, we have official documentation, we have witnesses, we have alibis, that the fact that, Mr. Pellegrini was not even in the country during this supposed meeting with this man right here. So how could he order a hit if he wasn't there? And the man does admit that, okay, yeah, he wasn't in the room, but it was strongly applied that he was this is where the orders were coming from. So immediately, Ted looks at this and is like, oh God, what have we done here again? This is not going to bode well to anyone. So Ted and Kevin takes him back to his office, berating him what the hell's going on. What you told us this was the fact. And he said, well, okay, I only said that because I wanted the deal. I wanted to make sure that I was going to get everything you promised me. So I said what you wanted me to say, hopefully thinking that, no one's going to ask questions, which I'm just like, my dude, you're dealing with a mob boss lawyer. Do you not think they're going to destroy your statement if it's not 100% factual? Like, even if it was 100% factual, they'll still find any way to undermine you. So Ted and Kevin are immediately pissed at him. They really just want to tear him a new one, but sadly, given how they're already in the middle of the trial, they can't really do anything else. They kind of have no choice but to proceed forward. Ted and Kevin return back to Ted's office, in which Ted's boss, the DA, shows up and just says, what the hell happened in that courtroom? Ted tries to apologize, and the DA say, I'm not going to have it. You literally promised me this was in the bag. You have the star witness. This is a 1, 2, 3 close case. And now I'm hearing that, your entire case has basically fallen apart on the first day of the case. Obviously, Ted tries to explain himself. He's like, look, it's already done. The case is over. What's going to happen now is that you're just going to be the son of a convicted lawyer, and then you're going to get and I'm also going to get the slack because I defended you. I allowed you to take both of these cases without much batting an eye. So the DA leaves. Ted gets mad over the whole thing because it wasn't his fault, but now they kind of really don't have much choice in the matter. Kevin does have another angle to play where they go back to the original star witness that was murdered to his daughter. Maybe she knew something else in the back end that could be useful for the case, which, again, right now, considering the fact that Ted kind of roped her dad into on this and he died because of it, I don't quite think she would be there on his side, but given how they are right now in this case, they really don't have much of a choice. I want to say from there, we cut back over to present day. I think Ted is going through some of the lists with Samantha about who the potential new, basically additions to their team could be. But Ted's obviously thinking about New York for a second, and Ted does talk a little bit about it with Amanda and saying to the fact that everything that happened the last few weeks have been very much reminder of his time in the DA's office, especially when he was on the opposing side with this matter, and that just gave him a little flashbacks. And he does just tell Amanda, eventually I will tell you exactly what the heck happened in New York. Just right now, I don't want to speak about it right now at this moment. So I think from there, we cut to the next day. Stewart cross-references some things. He goes back to not David Bowie. Basically tells him, okay, I'm being told a completely different thing, that this is not the first time you've done this sort of thing when it comes to threatening certain crew members about divulging production secrets. And eventually Bowie's like, okay, I admit I have done some things in the past, but my reputation in Hollywood is basically like, I will tell you I will do a certain thing. If you don't do this for me, but I never have to do it because they're always scared of me that they don't do it. So the rare times I do it, sure, it's just to prove a point. But I'll never go as far as saying, I'll kill you or like anything of that matter. And to the fact, oh no, I forgot there was one crucial scene where Stewart goes to visit the prosecutor on the matter, and he immediately says, "Okay, well, you may be saying all these things about the he's innocent, that it was just a miscommunication. You could be saying all that, but I got something else up my sleeve that will 100% prove your client's guiltability." And that's when it's revealed that there was a second whistleblower in there, and Stewart asked him like, "Who is it? Do you know?" And the guy's like, "No, I probably pissed off like more than 50 people in my heyday." He's been in the industry for so long that who doesn't hate him by this point? So narrowing down who exactly could have also leaked this information would be another problematic thing. So it definitely does piss him off. It pisses off the steward. They're like, okay, you know what? I'll still work with the information you're providing me, but again, it's not going to be enough to like really get him out of it. It's still going to be a long battle ahead for those two. Then I want to say, do we get anything else on Ted's side in the present? Yeah, I can't quite remember. I know Erica does have another scene with the with Ted's assistant about the new HR person, and she does admit like, look, the HR is the safe zone for every associate, that they can go to it and it's fine. So he has to be the way he is, regardless of exactly how it ends up pointing to be. Erica just has to accept it, going back, having a follow-up conversation with him in a much more peaceful, civilized manner, and he does apologize for things. Same with Erica. But sadly, he does tell her, like, look, Leia just lost her cat. Like, it may be an animal to you, but, like, for her, it was probably a big deal that, like, she was justifiable in her emotion, and then you came in, acted the way you did. How do you think she was going to feel after that, So then Erica starts really, like, thinking about it. It's like, okay, yeah, that was not my finest hour. I'm not going to lie to you. I think let's finish up the flashback. So Ted goes to visit the daughter of the original star witness, immediately yelling at him, immediately wanting to close the door on him. But Ted pleads with her, like, look, I'm still working on the case against your father's real killer. I just need a little bit more dirt. Do you have anything extra your dad may have given you in the past few years that could assist us with this matter? And she's like, no. That's not really something that would be around here. And considering how her demeanor is right now to Ted, like, even if I did have it, I wouldn't give it to you. You would be the last person I give this to. Throwing the door at his face as he doesn't really have much of a choice on the matter. He goes back to Eddie, saying that this could be the end of his case. This could be the end of his entire career. But Eddie continues to console him, considering to give him motivation. Like, you'll get through this. You will. Ted meets back up with Kevin, where Kevin reveals that, okay, well, we did get something in the finances, and apparently it points in the direction of the firm that Harvey Specter works at, which I'm just like, yeah, of course. I knew they had to find a way to rope him in somehow. The baseball game kind of made sense, but like, okay, how convenient he is part of this one, I would have called it from a mile away. So Ted goes to visit Harvey, pleading with him, hey, look, we just need some off the record type of exchange, with these finances. They could be very useful to finally putting away a mob boss away forever. And Harvey's like, no, I don't want to do this. This is shady shit. This is exactly why I left the DA's office, because I didn't want to get involved in this stuff. But the fact is, you're trying to rope me into this, and Ted's trying to explain to them, look, I understand, but at the end of the day, like, this is all for the benefit of New York. This is, we can get him out of this. And Harvey's like, no, not doing this. 100% not involved in this. So, sadly, they do not get that interpretation there whatsoever. So they kind of reach a dead end, at least from the fiscal point of view. But then later on, I forgot if there was a scene between here. I completely forgot. I think Ted and Kevin do go back to the drawing board a little bit, deciding to play a different angle with their current star witness, now pleading to the case of, like, he was, best friends with the recently deceased, and that, he was basically forced to do this, so he had to kind of, transform the love he has for his friend to hate, so that he was able to, like, commit this heinous act. But he looks at Pellegrini and says that if it wasn't for this man, my best friend would still be alive, and I wouldn't be feeling this way. So I believe with his testimony, as well as Ted finding evidence that Pellegrini was not out of the country, he was clearly in New York during this meeting, 100% destroying his credibility. is enough to probably sway the juror into Ted's favor, but the case is still far from over on that point. I believe from there, I want to say, yeah, just to finish up the flashbacks, Ted does go back to his office with Kevin. Despite everything that's happened, this could possibly be it. This could be it for the case, and then they can shut it closed. And all of a sudden, Harvey shows up back up again, dropping all the financial files that Ted asked him for. It's like Harry's like, look, don't ever say where this came from. I was never here. That's about it, and he leaves. And I know Kevin was speaking some sort of Lethal Weapons reference where like he's Mel Gibson, which I'm just like, okay, you don't seem like the Mel Gibson type in terms of the attitude, but okay, whatever you say, bro, whatever you say. So they're going for the finances, and Ted like looks at all this like this is going back years and years and years. That if they can find some smoking guns in here, this could 100% clinch their case to getting Pellegrini locked up for good. Which Kevin's like, I don't know, man. I think maybe it's better we just leave it on the murder charges, and that's it. We call it a day. And Ted's like, what are you saying? That this could be the last golden bullet we need to take him down for good. And Kevin's like, look, this kind of case has been riddled with despair and depression and just everything going on in every corner, that maybe it would be better if we just say, screw it. Just try the murder case and that's it. Call it a day. And then, if he gets arrested, good. And if not, oh well. At least we tried our best. And Ted's like, no, we should 100% proceed forward with it. Which I'm like, I don't know about Kevin's demeanor. I really don't. Like, this kind of was a little fishy on my mark. Then Harvey comes back in, giving another suggestion about how they can enter this into the court and to how they can get this against Pellegrini. And even like mocking Kevin for like, yeah, you are not Mel Gibson, which I'm just like, damn. No wonder Kevin doesn't like Harvey at all. We return back to present day, where I want to say Erica does apologize to Leia for her attitude, and that was uncalled for. Sadly, their sad moment is a little bit interrupted as Erica does, Leia does admit that, like, oh yeah, no, my cat just died before you told me, and then Erica gets a little miffed at her too, of like, so wait, so you mean to tell me like your cat didn't die in that day, or it happened before, so you were perfectly able to like show up for the dinner? And Leia's just trying to explain to her, yeah, but I wasn't in the right mental state. And then again, Erica returns back to her original demeanor, where it's like, look, sometimes, yeah, shit sucks like that. But however, again, the business we're in, we have to impress and keep our clients, which again means like if we have to push aside our personal BS, put on a smile on our face and act professional to get the job done, that's what we got to do. Leaving her high and dry, saying that this is exactly why, you power through. So she heads back to her house, her parents' house, gets a little emotional, using Leia's cat as like, an antidote to allow her to grieve over, her neighbor that just passed away. So, which I'm like, okay, I like that, she's still trying to not show too much emotion, but at the same time she is. So I do appreciate that in terms of just your solidarity on that matter. Stewart enters Rick's office with some concerning news that, again, that's they figured out that there was a second whistleblower, and that, I don't, it doesn't feel like not David Bowie would even be the type to actually kill someone. However, he does just read a news article that someone that worked with not David Bowie in the past just turned up dead. So it could be possible that Stewart is now representing an actual ongoing criminal. So that's another possibility right there. Ted's wrapping up his day, trying to get back home quickly when Amanda shows up in it and tells him that she made a change of heart, that she will be taking over accepting Ted's original offer and officially joining the team officially, which she's like, okay, but just making sure, because I went to go have a conversation with Stewart, which I completely forgot to say, where, like, yeah, there was a conversation between Amanda and Stewart about Ted's work ethic, about his work strategy, like, is this something she needs to be concerned about, and all that sort. Where she basically admits, like, look, I just want to make sure that stuff you pulled at Lester's trial isn't going to happen again. Because that's the kind of stuff that she cannot abide by. She cannot. And the other thing was that Amanda does admit she did have some feelings for Ted. As of right now, it's not something that is fully bubbling up to the surface, but it is definitely something that she would want to ask him going forward, because again, she does not want to do a professional relationship and a romantic relationship. She doesn't want to coincide the two. She will take either or, whether it is, going with Ted in an official romantic capacity or working with Ted officially on a professional capacity. It's one of the other two. There's no real in between between those two right now, which Ted needs a little time to kind of decide, kind of really think, is this something he really wants to risk over? However, sadly, Ted does get a text which he needs a little time to think about before he can fully answer. So Ted rushes back home, and we meet in present day Harvey Specter, which I'm just like, okay, interesting. Where Ted's immediately like, and I'm just, this is so nonchalant. Like, the man just showed up to Ted's house with like no key, no interrupt, no nothing. Is this another figment of his imagination? Like, what the heck is going on here? Like, they're just so, there's some missing context that we need to like really make this understandable. And the reason why Harvey's here is because apparently Pellegrini is about to get out of prison, and that he needs Ted to come back to New York to put him behind bars yet again. Which I'm just like, that is the most suddenest way to like bring Ted back to New York. That's the most suddenest way to bring Harvey into the picture in modern day. I'm for it, but I'm just like, damn, I need a little time. I need some baby steps over here. You just immediately just threw me into the walking corner. Damn. But that was it for this week's episode of Suits LA. Which for me, I liked it to an extent. The Harvey stuff didn't really feel like, it felt okay, but it didn't really feel 100% natural, especially towards the end. That kind of felt a little bit like, I would have been perfectly fine if it was just the flashback stuff, but the fact they just really kind of threw him in there of like, yeah, here he is, here's the plot line, let's go. And I'm just like, okay, damn, like, give us some time first to like just, let's see what's going on here. Stewart's case kind of being like, I feel like they're doing like the mirror perspective, where like Ted had a case for 6 episodes. I'm guessing Stewart's case is going to last the entire rest of the season, which I'm like, okay, it is what it is. I mean, so far, I'm not really hooked into that storyline, but heck, I'll take it. I'll do what I can on that. But the flashbacks getting more of a bit more speedometer this week, probably just to expedite to the point where like it'll make sense to now that Harvey's back next week fully. Interesting angle to rush upon. Again, fitting in Harvey there, it kind of felt a little forced. Not gonna lie to you about it. It didn't feel naturally organic in my opinion. But again, 'tis is what it is. Sadly, with this specific series. The Erica Leia storyline, again, it was a way to like relieve some emotion, get some tears out, like, grief for your loved ones, of course, when you can. Just the whole HR thing, like, I guess they were trying to do it a comedic angle. I didn't really see the funniness of it, if it was, or the fact of, just take a moment and just hear the other side out. Don't immediately jump to the conclusion. That's all I can say about it. But with all that being said, I'm giving this episode 1.5 thumbs up. Let me know down below what you think of this week's episode of Suits LA. I'd love to hear your thoughts down below, as always. But I believe that's going to do it for me today, everyone. So if you're unaware, this has been What's the Two from ActionX, reviewing every episode in the hopeful first season of Suits LA. If you want to know we're doing normal What's the Two besides our Suits LA episode reviews. Right now we are doing rookie episode reviews each and every week after brand new episodes on Tuesdays on ABC. And we're also doing Bad Luck reviews each and every week after brand new episodes on Thursdays on CBS. But if you don't care about Suits LA, your luck will be back next week with another brand new episode review for you. So stay tuned until then. But again, thank you so much for watching. Please subscribe if you haven't yet. Like, favorite, share if you want to. Ring that bell and follow social media for more. But until we see each other again, thank you so much for watching. Please stay safe out there. Be good to each other. And as always, peace out.